Welcome, everybody, to Survive and Advance on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. Survive and Advance is brought to you by MyBookie.ag. To get up to 100% cash back bonus on your first deposit up to $300, make sure you go to MyBookie.ag, put in the promo code TGT100, or go to the GruelingTruth.com webpage, click on the banner at the top with the MyBookie.ag logo, and that will also take care of you. I am your co-host for Survive and Advance, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I'd like to welcome in my other co-host, 1981 national champion and a member of the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. Help me welcome to the show, Steve Risley. How you doing, Steve?
Doing great today, Mike. How are you doing?
I'm awesome.
We may actually get some rain out here in California today.
It's 75 and sunny here, Steve.
It's not here. It's only going to be a high of 57 here, and it's overcast. I mean, you know, what's going on here?
Well,
you guys got thunderstorms coming in.
I'm sitting out here by the pool with the dogs watching TV, doing the show with you right now.
How is that for you? I mean, that's what I do 99% of the time. How are you liking that scenario?
Well, it's like this. When you do it all the time, it's no big deal. But
yeah, you're right.
When you can do it just every once in a while, it's
like kind of going on vacation for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like if you don't drink a Sprite, you drink Sprite all the time, you don't drink it for a month, and then all of a sudden you have an ice-cold Sprite. It tastes much better. I don't drink Sprite because that's the devil's juice. But unless they want to be a sponsor, anything that's carbonated is bad for you.
Why?
Because it's carbonated. It's poison.
Carbonated is just bubbles in water.
That's what they want you to think.
Is it? Oh, God. Well, I grew up on Tab. I'm that old, and then switched to Diet Coke.
Well, see, I grew up on Coca-Cola, and I used to drink like a case a day. Yeah. And by the time I was 26, I had an enlarged prostate, and they told me it was probably from all the caffeine. So, see, the devil's juice.
Yeah, but do you drink coffee?
No.
No, yeah, I've only had about 4 cups of coffee in my life. I'm not a coffee drinker at all. In the morning, if I drink something warm and hot in the morning, all I want to do is crawl back in bed and go back to sleep.
Well, since January the 1st, or since January the 6th, the only thing I have drank is water or tea.
Yeah, I drink a ton of water, bottled water. I'm an Evian fan, which Evian spelled backwards is naive.
Yeah, that's the devil's juice. Yeah. That's just straight up water. See, we've got a filter.
Know, but you know what?
We got a filter that filters out the bad stuff.
The bottle looks pretty, and I feel good about it because Jimmy Connors and Bjorn Borg and those guys used to drink Evian because they always have it at Wimbledon. So figured my heroes could drink Evian.
Well, see,
but anyway,
there's a big election today too in Lawrenceburg, Indiana.
Oh yeah, what are they voting for?
Yeah, it's a primary for to be the mayor of Lawrenceburg. I should be the mayor of Lawrenceburg because it pays really well.
What, $15,000 a year, something like that?
Oh, but you got casinos and stuff. You make a shitload of money if you're the mayor of Lawrenceburg. But the thing that was funny the incumbent mayor nobody likes, which I think means that he's probably on the up and up, so all the criminals want to get rid of him. So last night, you remember Lauryn Hill?
Lauryn Hill, the actress?
No, Lauryn Hill, that would be the singer, but Lauryn Hill, she was the basketball player from Lawrenceburg that had DPIG, which is a cancer
I quoted Tim
that
Johnson.
will kill you.
I quoted Tim Johnson. So
but it's cancer that'll kill you. But she was famous all over the world a few years ago. She actually played a game at Mount St. Joe, a D3 school, and she had cancer. She passed away.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember her now. Yes,
all right.
I do.
But what they did was this. There's controversy around here about whether the water has fly ash and all this chemicals in it. And last night, there's a guy that, for lack of a better term, is a scumbag that's running for mayor in Lawrenceburg against the incumbent mayor. And they had a video of a city council meeting in November of last year where he brings up Nick Gepper, who won X Games gold, and Lauryn Hill. And then he said something like it must be something in the water. And they edited the video with him coming back and laughing and saying, "Don't get me on this in the future." So they made it look like he was making fun of Lauryn Hill when he actually wasn't. And they dropped this video like the night before the election.
Mm-hmm.
Politics are awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a mess that you don't want to be a part of. And I know at some point today we're going to talk about social comments and things of that nature with athletes, and we're going to dive into that a little bit today. But what's your source of water there? It's Brookville Reservoir, isn't it?
No, it's just Lawrenceburg City water. And up until recently, there'd never been anything in it. But you don't use
Brookville Reservoir as your source for
the
city water?
Brookville's like an hour away from me, 45, 50 minutes.
Oh, well, we use Morse Reservoir as Indianapolis' source of water. They did. And
damn, all the way in L.A., you use Indianapolis water?
No, when I lived in Fishers, we lived on Geist Reservoir, but Geist Reservoir served Indianapolis, where the northern part was served by Morse, which was 15 miles away.
All right. Well, let's go to the NBA because there's nobody in Idaho that gives two shits about the Lawrenceburg mayor election or anything else.
There's a couple teams in the NBA that need some good hyper water or something like that.
Yeah, they need some good quality H2O, as the water boy Adam Sandler would say. And last night, the Houston Rockets tied the series with the Golden State Warriors exactly the way me and Bobby predicted, with a 112-108 win over the Golden State Warriors. James Harden, 38 points. Chris Paul, 13 points. 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Austin Rivers came off the bench that played well. Eamon Shumpert played well off the bench. Eric Gordon, 20 points. Clint Capella, 6. P.J. Tucker played a great game. He had a double-double with 17 points and 10 rebounds. Now, the reason I brought that up is I could name 7 or 8 guys for them that had a big effect on this game. When we look at the Warriors, you had Durant, 43 minutes, 34 points. Green, 41 minutes, 15 points. Curry, 43 minutes, 30 points. Thompson, 36 minutes, 11 points. The only guy that really saw significant time off the bench was Kevon Looney. And when I look at this, and I brought this up yesterday, there's only 1 day of rest between each one of these games from here on out. I think the Houston Rockets are going to win this series, Steve. I
watched that game last night. I foregoed most of the hockey game to watch this because I wanted to be up on the NBA. First off, the quality of play on both teams is just in the entire playoffs, the quality of play is elevated immensely, and that may be part of the problem. I don't think that these guys are used to playing that hard as frequently as they do during the regular season. They tend to take
they're
time
not
off.
Playing 43, 44 minutes in the regular season.
Right, yeah. And you're exactly right. I watched Golden State. They just looked tired. They were not with the step and the quick step and the movement, the sharp cuts. Curry was struggling to get open. They were putting different players on him to guard him, and he was really struggling to get open. How many points did Curry end up with?
He got
30.
But the thing that stood out to me was down 3 points.
Shooting, 4 of 14 3-pointers, which 4 of 14 3-pointers.
Hey, but down 3 points, him and Durant both missed wide open threes to tie that game.
Right.
That never happens. So to me, that could be your legs.
Right. And they're only using 3 players off the bench. Like you said, Looney's the only one who got significant minutes. So they're basically in a 6-man rotation against a team that's hell bent for election. This is a team that has a pathway. They want to win this. They want to get revenge back. They're going deeper into their bench. I mean, like you said,
they're only going 7 deep, Steve. But the thing is this. They also are not as old a team, and they have not spent the last 4 or 5 years playing 100 games every season.
Right. No, I think that right now, I think that what it boils down to this, Mike, is Golden State's probably only real chance to win this now is the fact that they have 2 of the games at home. Now, I know you don't think that's a big deal in the NBA, and I don't know that
I don't think it's a big deal in anything. Ask the Kansas City Chiefs and the New Orleans Saints how big a deal it was to beat a home team.
Right, but when it's a one-game deal, that's a little different. When it's just a one-game.
Yeah, but this ends up being a one-game deal, Steve, if it goes to a game 7.
Well, it's a 2 of 3. It's a best of 3 right now. So basically it's come down to best of 3, and 2 of the games are at Golden State. They're going to sleep in their own bed. They're going to get a little better quality of rest, but I don't know that it's going to make a difference. And I don't want to disagree with you that the home court advantage is not that big because I think right now Houston's a juggernaut that is on a mission, and I think that Golden State's very tired, and they're at great risk. I still probably, if I was going to bet $1, and I would not bet more than $1, I still would probably bet on Golden State to eke this out somehow. But I don't have a lot of faith to bet more than $1 on that because I think Houston can easily take this series. And I think that whoever wins this series represents the West in the NBA Finals. I think the most compelling series going on is Denver, Portland. You talk about two evenly matched young teams that are hungry as heck. But I still think that whoever wins this series goes to the finals. This basically is the Western Conference Finals. I know Denver fans aren't going to want to hear that, or Portland. But, yeah, I think Golden State is just – they're plumb tuckered out.
Yeah, but how about this? What if this goes 7 games deep and Denver or Portland end theirs in 6? They got some rest. They have younger legs to begin with. You may have a situation where a Denver or Portland can jump up in a game 1 against Houston or – against Golden State and maybe steal that first game. And the other thing is this that people forget, Houston's the 4 seed. So Houston would travel. Houston will be the away team in the Western Conference Finals also.
Yeah, you're right. So that doesn't seem to affect them. We'll find this all out in the next 3 games now between the two teams, if it goes 3 games. I mean, it's going to go 2 at least, and we'll see what happens. I want to see Golden State go home to their own bed, get some rest, but they don't have enough time to get enough rest, I don't think.
This is the only day of rest they get, and this is a travel day.
Yeah, it's almost like their staff ought to just say, take the day off, don't come in.
Well, they probably will. That's what I would think they'll both do. I don't even think they'd have a shoot-around today. Especially, they either flew in after the game, which if I was them, I would have flown out last night after the game. I don't know which they did.
Well, that's regulation. I think it's NBA regulation. If they can, they have to fly out that night.
But
I think that's NBA regulation. I don't quote me on that, but I believe it is.
Yeah, you don't have any clue. You're guessing, Steve.
What?
You're guessing.
No, I think I'm right on that. I think we looked it up. I'd be accurate on that statement, but I always leave an error of doubt when I'm not 100% sure.
All right.
So yeah, this has turned into a good series. The players are all playing their game. I mean, Eric Gordon's probably the biggest surprise here, what he's contributing. Harden, with his busted up eye, still drills 38 points. I still don't like the flopping going on. I get sick and tired of every time these guys shoot a 3-pointer. The guy goes to try and block it. They fall to the ground and flail like they've been busted in half. And these guys are big, strong athletes. And if I went up and tried to even knock into James Harden and he tried to resist me, I wouldn't be able to put him on the ground. These guys just fall and flail like there's
This is all Bill Lambert's fault. You know that, right? Bill Lambert and Dennis Rodman.
Yeah. I think the thing here about either one of these teams, they have nothing for Denver's center. I can't think of the kid's name right now. But
Jokic. I mean, that is the problem.
Neither team has anything for that kid.
And Denver is a deep team. I think Denver is the bigger threat to the two. I think Portland's still a threat because both of those teams play hard. Neither one of them are going to give you anything. But when we go and we look out east, we've got the Milwaukee Bucks who lost game 1 to the Boston Celtics. And then a lot of people were saying, we told you the Celtics were the best team at the start of the year. The Bucks since then have pretty much dismantled the Celtics. And last night, a 113-10 win over the Celtics. And it was kind of like the other games where the Celtics come out, they get a big lead in the first quarter, and then Milwaukee just kind of walks them down and beats them up. And the thing about Milwaukee is you got Giannis, 39 points, 16 rebounds. I think he's the best player in the NBA. We had that conversation a week or two ago. But every game, this guy does it. The thing is, he may decide to put you away in the third quarter, which is what he's done the last couple games. But this is a team that goes 8 guys deep. I mean, they had 8 guys play 17 minutes or more. You had Giannis with 39. You had Middleton and Bledsoe each with 13. George Hill, the old pacer, with 15. And then when you look at the Celtics, I think there's no doubt that Gordon Hayward, even though he showed flashes in this postseason, he's not back to where he was because the starting five all score double figures.
Double figures.
You go to the bench, Hayward 2 points, Marcus Smart 3 points. I mean, they cannot beat any team that's left in this playoffs with just those 5 guys. I mean, Gordon Hayward has got to do something. Marcus Smart's got to do something. When I look at this, Steve, I think this series is over.
I would agree. I would agree entirely. I watched this game again, too. Two things I took away from this game. Milwaukee's relentless. They come at you, and 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 they come at you from every angle possible.
Yeah, they're a complete team.
I mean,
they're the most
right,
complete
most scoring,
team in the playoffs.
Right. Most of the scoring is done by Giannis. I get that with 39 points, but the contributions the rest of this team is making are not statistically significant, but they are game significant. And I do like the fact that, they're using – they played what? They played 4 players off the bench. Like you said, 3 with significant minutes, which gives their starters a rest. Their starters, they don't have a starter in the 40s on minutes played. Middleton played 37. That was the most. They're giving their team rest. They're spreading the wealth around. And I watched Milwaukee just relentlessly attack Boston. And Boston just became tired and disoriented almost in the fact that they didn't play like I've seen Boston play under Brad Stevens before. They don't look like a Brad Stevens team at all right now. Their system is broken down on them. I think Haywood, only 2 points out of Gordon Hayward last night. You're not going to win with Gordon Hayward only scoring 2 points for you. And while they put all 5 starters in double figures, they're not playing anybody else. So the scoring's got to come from those guys. But I think of the 4 series left, this one is probably the most done and cooked of all of them. And that disappoints me because I really thought the Celtics would make it early in the year. But I had not seen Milwaukee play. And I've watched Milwaukee play enough. These guys can win the NBA championship. There's no doubt about it. They can win the NBA championship.
I think they will win the NBA championship.
They've got to probably get by Toronto. They've got to probably get by
Kawhi Leonard.
And they've got to get by them. But I still think Milwaukee's a more complete basketball team. I don't know the last time
the problem Toronto's got is
this.
this.
People that contribute and play to the same goal as Milwaukee does.
Toronto's problem is they don't have the bench. They don't have the depth that Milwaukee has. Plus, Milwaukee, weren't they the number 1 seed? So
yeah, I think they're the number 1 seed in the tournament.
Yeah, so they're going to have home court advantage all the way through. And Steve quit calling it a tournament. It's the playoffs.
The playoffs. My apologies.
All right.
Like hockey's a match, not a game. It's a hockey match.
Hockey is a game because almost everybody in Canada calls it a hockey game from what I've seen.
Okay. Well, that's Canadian. I've always been told it was a hockey match. But I was not knee deep into hockey, so I would defer
love
to
hockey.
you on that
My
one.
Blue Jackets
I know
got
you
taken
turn into a
down
hockey
last
fanatic,
night.
and that's what cracks me up. You call me in the evenings, and all you're doing is ranting and raving about the hockey.
Well, it was just last night. The Columbus Blue Jackets. There's like 20 seconds left in the second period, and a guy from the Bruins comes over and just jams right up into the dude's face, knocks him on the ice, and they called a 2-minute minor penalty. In the NFL, the guy would have probably been fined $5 million and suspended for 16 years. But instead, the Blue Jackets got screwed over. It's not let them play. It was a bad call. It should have been a 5-minute major.
I honked my family off last night because here I am. Of course, the games come on 3 hours earlier out here. So at about 8 o'clock at night, I'm flipping back and forth between Golden State and Houston and the Blue Jackets and the Bruins. And my family all sitting there like, when are we going to get to watch Jeopardy?
Oh, my God. Really? Like, get a new family then.
So I said, hey, you know what? We have 5 other TVs in this house. I'm watching hockey. I'm trying to keep up with the hockey game as much as I can. And I'm watching the Golden State Warriors and the Rockets play. I have a radio show to do in the morning, and it ain't going to be about Jeopardy questions or the Kardashians. So let it go. We'll get to it.
Yeah. I just made my wife clean the carpets. So
I had to help my wife clean the floors yesterday, too.
No, I didn't help her. I told her, I said, you get this done. Because that's what a man does. A man is a man. All right?
I know.
That's not really true. And that's
but
not
no,
what
I think of all the series, Boston's in the biggest trouble of all in terms of advancing. I don't think they can now. It's what, 3-1? Yeah. And are they going back to Milwaukee now?
Yeah, they're done.
Yeah, this one ends the next game.
Yeah, even if they win the next game, they're going to lose the game after. All right, let's go to the XFL. The XFL announced
right.
its television partners yesterday or the day before. The league's games will be aired on Fox, that's FS1 and Fox, ESPN, and ABC. We don't know the details of the deal. We don't know if the XFL will have to pay for its own production costs, which to me is a big question here because that could turn into a huge expense. If you don't believe me, you can ask the AAF. Until then, we really don't know if it's a good financial deal or not. But I think in terms of strategy, the XFL may have benefited from its previous experience in watching how the AAF did things. The AAF bounced around. There were games on CBS, NFL Network, CBS Sports Network, which nobody can find anyways, multiple Turner networks, which nobody wants to find, and it just felt really scrambled. The XFL has a deal with Fox and ESPN. Football fans are used to watching games on Fox and ESPN. ESPN and Fox, will promote the league, so that's huge. And having it on a broadcast network is always better than CBS Sports Network, Steve.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. And this deal is cut with Fox Sports, and it's actually cut with Disney because Disney owns ABC and ESPN. So my understanding was that the deal was cut with Disney, which Disney doesn't fail at anything. If they're going to invest into this, and we don't think really the leagues are investing anything other than airtime, because I also found out that basically all the advertising sales and all is going to be handled by the networks and not by the XFL. Now, I'm sure that the XFL is going to get some cut of that advertising money, or they wouldn't be able to survive. But it's all going to be handled by Disney and Fox Sports. So they're basically in control. My gut feeling is probably at some point of that $500 initial investment that Vince McMahon is making, some of that's going to have to go to production costs. They may, but the Disney and Fox made it clear that they are not going to pay the XFL to put their programming on the series. They're going to give them the airtime. And now my concern is this, Mike. They're going to start up playing the week after the Super Bowl. How interested are you in watching more football from a league of going to be able players?
Look at this, Steve. Look what the ratings on the AAF the week after the Super Bowl were great,
high.
And everybody thought it was going to make it. The problem is this. What happens the next week? What happens when March Madness starts? So I think this. If this is a deal where, say, they don't have to pay anything, even if ESPN and Fox, ABC, whatever, keep the money, as long as they don't have to pay anything, to be on network TV is huge. And if they have to pay, do they get a portion of the rights? So really, until we know exactly what's been done here, I think it's really hard to judge. I just think by looking at it and seeing that most of the games are on regular Fox, ESPN, ABC, I think that makes this a much better deal.
Oh, and there's no doubt it's a better deal. There's no doubt. But I think you said it's going to be good because there is that lull period there right after the Super Bowl, the beginning of February, up until the conference championships and college basketball. So spring training starts up for the baseball fanatics. Hockey, where's hockey at that point? Are they getting to the Stanley Cups about that time?
Well, I mean, you look at it right now. I mean, you're at the end of the season. So the thing is, there's so many other things to do. And what I equate it with is this, is I coached arena football. And usually, even if you played in a championship game at the end of the season, which is usually in May or June, your crowd would not be as big as the first two games of the season. I mean, the biggest crowds are always the first two games of the season because it was usually in February or the start of March. There's not a whole lot going on. Most of those places where I coached, it was cold, so you didn't have much to do. But the perfect example is we had a situation in Owensboro, Kentucky, where we brought Jared Lorenzen in to be the quarterback. We'd gotten hot. We'd won a few games in a row. But our first home game was on the same day. This was like 2013 or so, 14. Kentucky and Louisville are both in the Final Four. And it just destroyed the crowd because we're in Owensboro, Kentucky. Everybody's either a UK fan or a Louisville fan. They're in the Final Four, and it just kills it. So is there a big enough crowd out there to still watch this, even during March Madness?
Well, I think there is in the cold weather. when you're kind of still locked inside.
That's what I'm saying. But once we get to March
Right.
Madness, it's not cold
Right.
weather. And even if it is, you're locked inside watching the NCAA tournament, which is, I think, the greatest 2 weeks of sports.
Right.
So
Yeah. You've got. I mean, and I know it's not big for you, but you got auto racing starting up. Masters golf starts. You know, they've got all the majors front loaded now. So you're probably going to be playing the April, May, and June. There's 3 majors.
yeah, but nobody cares about that. That's on a Saturday during the day, though. So if they're playing games at 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock at night, that really doesn't affect it, Steve. And I'm sorry, Steve, unless Tiger Woods is in it with a chance to win, the ratings aren't
I would
great
agree on a
anyways.
weekly tournament, but the majors still draw fairly good crowds and audience. But it's not the sole purpose. There's just a conglomeration of things that come up, and I think that you'll see good viewership early, and it'll just continue to fall off. But that's when his bank account's going to start falling off as well too. So we'll see. If anybody can pull this off, it's Vince McMahon. There's no doubt about that. If anybody can do an upstart league,
and he's got Oliver Luck with him. So you got two intelligent guys.
Himself. Right.
Yeah, two intelligent guys who basically piss excellence.
Right. This is exactly right. This is a model that everybody that wants to do this in the future should follow. That if these guys
they've
can't
taken
do it,
3
it
years
probably can't
to
be
put
done.
it together. So
They take their time.
the AAF,
They're
no matter
well-funded.
what we were told, slapped shit together and hoped it would work, and it didn't.
Well,
All right.
in terms of AAF, their original investor, Reggie Fowler, faces now up to 70 years in jail for fraud. While the TV situation may have led to the league's demise, is the headlines. He reportedly provided $28 million to the league initially, but not as much he promised, leading Tom Dundon to step in and had put up another $250 million. But this whole deal was done for money laundering purposes with Fowler and his partners to move money through the league and around different areas. So Dundon's clear of this. Dundon has nothing to do with this. But they're talking now that this Fowler guy and his partner, Robert Yosef, between February and October, moved hundreds of millions of dollars through banks for a cryptocurrency business under the guise of what they were saying were real estate holdings. So when the AAF was raising money, Fowler raised his hand to commit the lion's share, said he agreed to fund with up to $170 million of his own money, but he only put up $28 million. Was hiding his money, apparently, and trying to move it through for the cryptocurrency deal. And so now he's in trouble. And we haven't begun to touch the problem with the AAF and how that thing fell apart so quickly. But I don't think it was maybe the fault of the league because, like you said, they were strong coming out of the gate.
Yeah, it's still the fault of the league because that guy started the league. So in the end, they don't vet people. I mean, and the thing is this: the NFL Network, CBS, aren't going to vet it because they were being paid to show it, so they don't care if it works or not. They got their money. That's all that matters. Real quick, Steve.
We'll stay on. Maybe we could get Oliver Luck back on. We've had him on a couple times.
Yeah, I sent a message to him yesterday. We'll see if we can get him on here in the next week or two. We do have a
Let him
listener.
explain.
We have a listener with a question. So
okay.
We've got Rich Grant. He says, "Hi there, Rich here from Lexington, Kentucky." Rich, have I ever told you how much I love the Kentucky Wildcats? What are your thoughts on Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons? I think these two are overrated. Do you think Philly would benefit sitting Embiid for Game 5 to preserve him for the rest of the series? All right, so my thoughts are this. Rich, if you think Joel Embiid is overrated, why would you sit him for the rest of the series? If he's overrated, it's not going to matter because he can't make a difference. I think the fact that Rich would ask that question tells me that Embiid is not overrated. Embiid is playing injured. And I do think, and this may sound crazy, and I brought this up on yesterday's show, Steve, with 1 day's rest here, I would save Embiid for Thursday. I would win Game 6 on Thursday, and then you get 2 days rest, Friday, Saturday, before playing Game 7 on Sunday against the Raptors. I think their best course of action here is to do this, because if they play Embiid in Game 5 and they lose that game and they're coming back on 1 day's rest for Game 6, I think that it's going to be harder to win the series that way. I know people are going to say you're nuts, he's your best player, but Joel Embiid is the guy here the Raptors don't really have an answer for. And if he plays well, The Raptors, I don't think, can beat the 76ers. What do you think, Steve?
If he's hurt, he's not giving the team 100%, then he's a liability.
He's been
a liability
hurt.
Because he's a liability not because it's because he's not playing up he can't play up to his potential. So I think the number one thing to do is to get him healthy. First, as healthy as you can possibly get him in a short period of time that they have. I don't know the extent of his injuries, but if it's hampering his play, which it obviously is, I don't know that I would disagree with not just sitting him a game. You're kind of throwing a game away at 3-2, then, aren't you? Because that series tied 2-2.
Yeah, and then I'd risk a lot of things.
Yeah, because you're going back to Toronto. You're basically, if you sit Embiid, you're giving that game away. I don't think the Sixers can touch Toronto at home without Embiid. But I agree with you. The way he's playing right now, with the extent of his injuries, he's not an effective part of that basketball team.
He is. He has been. I mean, he put up 33 points last Thursday.
Okay. I don't know. It's a call that their doctors and trainers would have to make. I would, me as a player, you couldn't sit me if you had to. Unless my bone was broken and my foot was flopping around like Gordon Hayward's was, I'd want to play. And if he's putting up 33 points, but, I would say playing. I don't think he'll sit. I think he'll play.
Well, I
remember Willis Reed in 1970. Willis Reed in 1970.
Yeah, but Steve, don't even start that. He played like 4 minutes. He hit 2 shots, Willis Reed did. He inspired the team early, but it's not like he played the entire game through the injury. He had an ineffective offensive game in their past game. He's supposed to have an achy knee, which caused him to miss a lot of time at the end of the season. He was supposedly throwing up before Game 4. So when you look at it, Rich, I can see why you say what you say. I mean, how can you score 33 one game, you come back look like crap, and then all of a sudden you're hurt again? So I do have questions with that, to tell you the truth. But if he is seriously injured, I would seriously consider sitting him because of that. Because you want to have him healthy. I mean, because if you're playing injured and you're only playing at 50%, you hurt your team. Where, you could play your backup. He's playing at 100%. That maybe helps your team a little bit more. I just think in the end, if the Sixers are going to beat the Raptors, they need 2 of these next 3 games for Embiid to be a bad man, as Stephen A. Smith would say, even though he's an idiot. But, I don't know. Is it an excuse? Is it something where his knee acts up from time to time? I don't know. But I'm saying in this, if he is seriously, truly hurt that bad, I would sit him. You give him the extra day's rest. You get the win in Philly. You get 2 days rest, and you go to Toronto. But in the end, this Game 5 is huge for who's going to win the series, which is the other thing. I mean, if you come out, how about this, Rich? If you come out and you play Embiid and you win, you could actually rest him until Game 7 then. So I don't know. It makes sense to me why you would rest him, but it also makes sense to me why you wouldn't. And it definitely makes sense to me, Rich's question, because if you're that hurt, how can you score 33 points? And as Rich says, he was jumping around the court looking like he won the whole damn NBA championship after the game when he dropped 33. So that question has to be asked also. But Rich, I want to thank you from Lexington, Kentucky. Feel free to drop a question whenever you want. Rich asked the question through Spreaker. So if you guys have any questions you want answered, you can ask through Spreaker, or you can go to the Grueling Truth, at Grueling Truth on Twitter. Send us a DM there. So thanks again, Rich. All right, Steve, let's go ahead and wrap this up with Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa has tweeted that, Black Panther is the worst Marvel movie ever. Beyonce's music is trash and Kaepernick is a clown. Now, I don't like Black Panther, and I don't know if it's the worst Marvel movie because I've never seen Black Panther. I just hate Marvel movies. I don't like comic strip movies. I don't care. I don't like superheroes. Well, have you never seen the
movie? How do you?
I don't like superheroes because this is the thing. I don't like superhero movies.
You don't like Superman?
No. I think Superman was boring. When I used to watch that back in the late 70s, it gave me a headache. I think Beyonce's music is trash because I don't like Beyonce's music.
Mike, did you ever see Deadpool?
No. I saw Deadpool with Clint. Was it Clint Eastwood?
No.
Yeah, that was Deadpool, wasn't it? It was like one of the Dirty Harry movies.
Deadpool is Ryan Reynolds playing a very sarcastic, it's an R-rated superhero movie. It's not even for kids.
So you're going to say it was an adult movie. I was going to say I don't know why Steve watched it.
It is because it's R-rated. I mean, it's R-rated. You got it. Pull up Deadpool with Ryan Reynolds.
I don't watch superhero movies. They're stupid.
You can't comment on things you haven't seen. That's horse pucky.
When I was growing, what's horse pucky is this, Steve? I've watched Marvel movies before, and I find them stupid. Superheroes to me are Evel Knievel, Muhammad Ali, and Elvis Presley. Those were superheroes. Until Elvis died on the toilet while eating a fried peanut butter sandwich.
What Marvel movies have you? My son, he's worked on Marvel movies before. What Marvel movies have you seen?
Was Spider-Man a Marvel movie?
Yeah, he's a Spider. He's a Marvel character.
I saw Spider-Man. I saw Superman in the late 70s with that one dude.
That's with Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
Christopher Reeve. They've gotten a lot better since then.
I don't like superhero movies. I didn't read superhero comic books.
Well, then don't sit there and say Black Panther's bad. You've never seen it.
Wait a second. I just told you I don't like Marvel movies. If I don't like Marvel movies, that would say it's bad.
You get on Nick Bosa for making stupid comments. You're right in that same.
How am I stupid? I just said I don't like any Marvel movie. His problem was he picked out the Marvel movie with a Black Panther in it. See, I pick out all Marvel movies. That makes me not like white people.
You think Nick Bosa's racist because primarily Black Panther was a black superhero movie?
No, I'm saying here when I look at it, he said Black Panther movie is the worst Marvel movie ever. He said Beyonce music is trash. And he said that Colin Kaepernick is a clown. I agree with number 1 and number 2, but not number 3.
Well, you can't make a comment that the Black Panther is the worst superhero movie I've ever seen if you haven't seen it.
I didn't say it was the worst one I'd ever seen. I said I've never seen it because I think they're all bad.
On one.
I think they're all bad. I don't want to watch superheroes. It's stupid. I'm not 12 years old. I don't watch professional wrestling either.
The top 10 grossing movies of all time, probably 8 of them are these superhero movies.
I don't care.
Including
what does it matter to me what somebody else likes? I don't care what's the biggest grossing movies of all time.
Mike, but don't sit there and comment that you don't like it.
I'm not allowed to not like it?
No, if you haven't seen
it. So I have to like it because everybody else likes it, Steve, right?
No, yeah, I have no opinion on it. Because
you have no opinion on it. Well, see, but you like superhero movies that are made for little kids, right?
No, I don't like superhero movies, but I watch them, and I'm qualified to comment on them.
Why do you watch them if you don't like them?
Because they're part of our culture, and because
they're not a part of my culture.
Well, okay, then just don't comment on them. They're not part of my culture.
The only thing I said was I don't like Marvel movies.
I'm stupid blue hat right now, and her dress is not part of my culture. I don't comment on how Queen Elizabeth dresses. Queen
Elizabeth is nowhere near on your culture because Queen Elizabeth is part of what we got rid of a couple hundred years ago. I don't care.
And we married right back into it. We sent Meghan Markle over there. We married right back into it. We now have a half American prince.
No, we don't.
Yeah, they had her baby, and it's half American.
Don't. I don't care if she had a baby.
And
it doesn't matter to me.
Well.
She's just a rich person that takes advantage of poor people in England.
Oh, God. It must be tough growing up in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. I swear.
All right, we have another listener who made a comment. Hi, Mike and Steve. My name is Lucas. I'm a 9-year-old little girl from Toronto, Canada. All I am going to say is this. The Northern Uprising has begun. The Avengers Endgame is a great movie, whatever that is. Go Raptors. We the North. Cheers, Lucas. Now, what I would like to ask our little friend from Toronto, Canada is, Who's going to be in the Stanley Cup Finals this year? Because I'm pretty sure it's going to be two teams from the great United States of America. Where are the Toronto Maple Leafs? He can talk about the Raptors all he wants, but we know nobody in Toronto really cares. They only care about the Leafs. And the Leafs haven't been to the Stanley Cup Finals since what? 1964 or something? I don't even know. I'm just guessing a year. It may not even have been that recent. So, yeah, Lucas, we the North. Those are the dumbest uniforms in the history of mankind also.
All right, let's backtrack here just a little bit. First off, the Endgame movie, the Avengers Endgame, probably was made for about $200 million.
Oh, God. Who cares?
It is gross. Again, Disney owns the Marvel stable.
And Disney was owned by Walt Disney, who's a communist. Go ahead.
Oh, God almighty. The film has grossed worldwide over $2 billion already. So basically, Disney's made around, it's still only in about the second or third week of the show, not going to video yet or going to direct to pay-per-view. That movie's already made $1.8 billion. It's a cash cow. The whole line of superhero movies is a cash cow for Disney. DC is owned by Fox Studios. It's a lesser version. They own Batman and Superman and that genre. Spider-Man's the only transfer, was part of the DC series, I believe my son told me. But somehow Disney wrangled that Spider-Man away to the Marvel side and brought the Spider-Man into the Marvel side. So it's an incredible franchise. And the movies are, as Lucas said, from what I've seen, now I have not seen the Avengers Endgame. I refuse to go to movie theaters. But everybody has said it's an incredible movie. It's a 3-hour movie. So man, I wouldn't be knocking if you haven't seen it.
I'm never going to see it.
Back to Nick Bosa.
I'm never going to see it because it's stupid. I don't want to watch superheroes. Jeez.
You should never comment on it.
There are no superheroes. I can comment on anything I want because I'm an American, not a Canadian. I am free.
Hey, I have a question. This second part of my question is, how many hockey teams are there in Canada? There's the Canadians, the Maple Leafs. Does Ottawa still have a team?
I don't know. Who cares? I like hockey. I like American
the Ottawa
hockey.
Rough Riders?
Because American hockey wins. The Ottawa Senators. You've got the Edmonton, that team Gretzky played on, the Oilers.
No, they're not. Are they still there?
Yeah.
Oh, Gretzky just moved from Edmonton to L.A. Yeah, I thought the whole team moved. You're right.
Yeah, you got the Calgary Flames. I know all this stuff.
Yeah.
There's like 6 or 7 teams up there. There's 7 teams up there because he just texted.
Ottawa. I think there's a team in Ottawa, isn't there? Lucas, how many teams?
There's
are in
7.
Canada?
I just told you how many there were. There's 7.
Okay. When's the last time a Canadian team won the Stanley Cup?
Oh, it was probably fairly recent, but the Maple Leafs haven't won since 1967. Lucas said so. I was close.
What do the Canadians even play anymore? Because I've heard nothing about them for a long time.
They missed out on the playoffs. The Columbus Blue Jackets edged them for the last spot, I believe, this year because I am a hockey savant now.
There you go.
All
right, what's going on with Nick Bosa?
Well, I just told you. I get an article from a San Francisco paper that says that
George Springer.
They should get rid of him. And I agree. I think they should get rid of him. I think they should send him to the Cincinnati Bengals. So,
Bosa?
Yeah. I think that since he's been such a bad boy, they need to send him to the Bengals for a fourth-round draft pick.
What's he allegedly accused of saying? He talks about Kaepernick.
He doesn't really.
That's
what he said.
Kaepernick a clown.
And I guess he's like some white folks who put up racist stuff, their comments. I can tell you this. I don't care what anybody believes. And you know what?
Yeah, I saw that
this
tweet.
is the thing. This is the thing in the end. If somebody is a racist or they're homophobic or they hate white people or whatever they hate, why do you care if you know about it? Because in the end, you don't have to wonder or worry about somebody if you know where they stand. And his beliefs have not caused him to action or to harm anybody. So who cares? I think Colin Kaepernick did what he thought was right. It doesn't matter if I agree with it or not. He has that right. It doesn't matter if I agree with Nick Bosa and what his opinions and beliefs are. If he's not hurting anybody, he has that right. If everybody would just respect each other's opinions, no matter how stupid they were, I think people could find common ground, and maybe we wouldn't live in such a messed up world anymore.
Well, I think on that, I don't think you need to really necessarily respect everybody's opinions, because some of the opinions are pretty idiotic. I think what you need to do.
Wait a second, though. No, wait. How can you
can
say?
Can I ever finish something before you
how can you say that somebody's opinions
I haven't finished
don't
my
merit
yet,
don't have merit because they're idiotic?
I haven't finished my statement. I don't respect some of the opinions that are put on Twitter. I didn't necessarily agree with Colin Kaepernick, but I did agree with the fact that he had a right to put it on Twitter and make his statement.
How about this?
And maybe I didn't
It doesn't
agree
mean
with
I
it,
respect the comments. I respect your right to make the comment.
Right, that's my point. That's the point I was trying to get at before I was interrupted.
No, it's just you're not as well spoken as me, and it would have taken you 37 minutes to get there.
No, I'm not. You've been on the radio much longer than I have, and you're
no, I haven't.
Fair than I am. I'm a little smarter than you are.
There's no way you're smarter than I am. Oh, my God.
You spend your life in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. You can't be that worldly.
Yeah, I can't be that worldly. You know what? I'm not the one that sits around and watches The Young and Restless and Jeopardy so I can learn something at night.
Jay, you learn a lot from Jeopardy. You learn stuff that you wouldn't know.
Yeah, you'd learn stuff that you wouldn't know.
Pleasure.
You know what? Basically, every day you learn stuff you don't know, Steve. Every once in a while I learn stuff I don't know.
Okay. That's right, but I'm saying.
See, once again, I just outsmarted you.
I don't have to respect what people say on Twitter, but I do respect the right that they have a right to say it. In Nick Bosa's case, you got to look at where he's from. Nick Bosa grew up in Ohio, and he grew up in the Midwest, and it's a whole different set of values in the Midwest than it is in San Francisco. Now, it doesn't make it right or wrong to make any racist comments or say anything negative, but you have to look at the culture that he grew up in. And you can't justify that, but you have to throw that into the mix and say, okay, well, the idiot grew up in the Midwest where it's a whole different set of values. People look at things a lot differently in Indiana. And trust me, I lived all my life in Indiana. Now I live in California. It's a different world. It's a completely different world. And every comment you make in Indiana might be humorous. Out here, it's offensive. Or some of you say out here that's humorous will be offensive to people in Indiana. Bosa's going to have to learn that. Should athletes be held accountable for their statements on Twitter or Instagram? I don't think so. I don't think we should punish them any more than we should punish anybody for making racist comments or anything like that. But I don't know they should be held especially accountable just because Nick Bosa was a number 2 draft pick in the NFL draft. Now, in the case of San Francisco, I read where there's been a lot of negative tweets about him. They should get rid of him. Dump it. You know what? That's all going to go away when the 49ers are 7-0, having already beat the Rams and the Seahawks once or twice, and they're heading to the playoffs this year. Everybody's going to fall in love with Nick Bosa out here real quick. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't care what anybody's politics are. I just care what they do.
I don't either.
And I'm not talking about playing. What do they do off the field? Now if all of a sudden a picture showed up of Nick Bosa riding a horse with a burning cross and he had a hood on, then I would say, hey, maybe we should take a second look. But he doesn't. And the other thing is this: if he had a hood on, you wouldn't know who he was, anyways. That's why those cowards did that. But
and when you tweeted him this morning and said, look, I didn't even know the comments existed. You tweeted him this morning and said, look up Nick Bosa and look up George Springer. And George Springer made a derogatory. I didn't know that I found that comment to be homophobic. I found it more to be stupid.
Homophobic.
I guess it's how you interpret the comment, and I'm not going to repeat the comment.
Well, he called the umpire a F word with a word that starts with C and ends with sucker at the end of it. I don't think that you're smart enough to explain that as well as I just did, so everybody knew what he said. And this is the thing. In sports, if you're in a locker room, people say that stuff all the time just joking with each other.
And that's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, when he gets mad, he says it. It doesn't mean that he goes out and he beats up gay people any spare time. It just means he was pissed and it came out. Now, the thing that does bother me is this. If you say effing C sucker, then everybody gets mad. But if he would have stood there and screamed out GD, nobody would have thought anything about it. And I think that's a sad, sad thing in this world.
Yeah, I know your position on that too. So, yeah, and I respect your opinion on that too. So, I know I've got caught saying that a couple times, and I shouldn't say it. But
dude, this is the thing.
Yeah,
this is the thing. One is using the Lord's name in vain, and the other one is just generally being mad and saying something just because you're pissed.
Stupid.
All right, we've got a comment from Rich Grant. Rich again. I agree with y'all, Mike and Steve. You can tell he's from Lexington, Kentucky. If people just shut the F up and not release comments and opinions, life would be better off. Social media can be a toxic place. These are public personas.
No doubt.
They need to know that. That's all I got to say.
Anymore, all I do on social media is forward tweets. We forward our programming on Twitter and stuff we do, and I post it on Twitter.
I never put my personal opinions about anything
I never put my
out
personal
there.
comments on it anymore.
Yeah,
there's
because
nothing good comes of that.
There is nobody that has all pristine thoughts or opinions.
No,
there's
nobody
just
does.
not. No matter who it
Not
is,
even
and
my wife is an angel.
usually the people, you wouldn't believe the thoughts she has about you, Risley. Like, hey, if I killed him, could I get away with
35 years
it?
of it.
Lorena Bobbitt, when she's on 60 Minutes, your wife's thinking there. But I could get Risley to shut up real quick with a knife. But, yeah, so when you look at it, I think people just need to leave this stuff alone. And maybe if we worried more about guys that are beating up women or, raping women.
Agreed.
And instead of letting them play, maybe stop them from playing and not worry about people that just say stuff. But
we're getting into a new realm here, but I almost wish professional sports would just issue a death penalty. That if you are caught doing physical harm to somebody else in any way, it's a death penalty. You're automatically out of the league.
Well, how about this? The thing that bothers me is this. They'll say, well, you're not allowed to hit a woman. You shouldn't be allowed to hit anybody unless you're defending yourself. Now, if you come up and I feel threatened and I whip your ass, I should be allowed to do that. But if this is just something where it's stupid anymore. It's just stupid.
Who's the idiot wide receiver for New York that shot himself in the leg dancing in a disco?
Plaxico Burress.
Years ago. Yeah, that guy should have been. He hurt himself. He should be out of the league.
Nah.
What are you doing carrying a gun?
I think he learned his lesson.
But why on earth would you carry a gun into a disco? What good is going to come?
Wait a second. Now,
if
you've ever been to New York, Steve, you'll know why you'd want to have a gun with you.
Plenty of time in New York.
Yeah, you know why you want to have a gun with you. Might have to shoot somebody.
I've never had a gun in my life, and I've walked through all boroughs in New York. I mean, I've been to Brooklyn, to Harlem, to Manhattan, to Soho, to everywhere. Going to events, function, bars, plays.
Well,
everything.
You know what? There's a lot of people that are bad
Never
people.
did I ever feel threatened in New York City.
There are a lot of people that are bad people that will pull a gun out and just randomly shoot people.
All right, whatever.
Well, that happens. We've seen it happen.
But
and this is the thing, Steve. The only place things like that happen is basically where you're not allowed to own a gun. 90% of mass shootings are in places where you're not allowed to own a gun.
I'm not getting into gun control discussion with you at the end of this show.
And Lucas Weiss says, Mike's redneck opinion's shining through, needing to carry a gun. You need to carry a gun everywhere. You got to protect yourself and your family. When you live in Canada and you still have, what do they got up there? They all still love the Queen, don't they? Isn't that in the old Canada song, Lucas?
Come on. Hey, Mike, do the pro leagues, don't they have a class to teach people how to handle social media?
Oh, they have all kind of classes. It don't mean anybody takes it seriously.
You got to remember, too, Nick Bosa. I'm not justifying Nick Bosa.
Hey, remember this. Remember Chris
George.
Carter at the NFL, I think it was Carter at the NFL Symposium, where he's telling everybody you always got to have a fall guy.
Yeah, you know the funny thing about Chris Carter is he was Butch Carter's younger brother, and he used to come to Bloomington all the time and spend time with Butch, and we would abuse the crap out of that kid.
So that's why Chris Carter ended up addicted to drugs and stuff at one point, you're saying?
No, that's why he became a Hall of Fame wide receiver.
I don't think so. I think you guys are the reason he had the chemical dependency issue, and then he got his life straightened up the more he got away
He was a
from
little
Bloomington.
snot. He deserved twice what he got from us. That little kid, he would come into practice, he could be in the locker room, and he was a little turd. Bless his heart. I mean, he's a sweet kid, but he was a little turd. And he's just a funny little kid that always was mouthing off at you.
So you guys figured, how old was he then? Like 9?
Yeah, if he was, about then, yeah, he was about.
So you guys figured, so what you guys did basically was this. Coach Knight physically and verbally abused you. So you had to find somebody to physically and verbally abuse. So you bullied a little 9-year-old kid into being chemically dependent later.
From Knight, it was unjustified because we didn't do anything to deserve it. That was just Knight being Knight. However, with Chris Carter, he deserved it. He asked for it.
Now, I'm pretty sure, I remember watching you play, Risley. You deserved to be beaten up on a lot.
I know. And the funny thing is, Butch didn't protect him. Butch let us have. Butch was part of it too. He'd get on him.
That makes it even better when your own brother is a part of the bullying. But all right, Steve.
I think the social media thing is just. I don't think. I wish the players would just stay off of it and not have opinions or keep them to themselves. But I read the one comment that was he talked about using the N-word, Bosa, and it basically was a girl put something on. The comment was, I think I'm going to use the N-word on Twitter today, and all Bosa did was he hit a like button. He just hit like. And for that, he's castigated. You know,
he probably shouldn't like it. But, you know, the sad thing is, the sad thing is this, though. When somebody makes it and has some success, it's amazing the amount of people want to then go find something to try to turn that into something bad. And we'll see. Nick Bosa's character will be shown because, you know, there's a huge spotlight on him now. So anything he believes, anything he does will be shown even brighter. So in the end, we'll see what that means. But right now, we're going to go ahead and wrap the show up. We've got a couple questions on Twitter. And if you ask those questions, they will be answered tomorrow because they are actually a couple hockey questions, which we will have Sam McGinnis on tomorrow, maybe Stuart Mason. I got to get a hold of Stu, see if they want to come on and talk a little NHL. But we're going to go ahead and wrap the show up for today. I want to remind everybody, me and Bobby Sheridan will probably be on at 2 o'clock. If not, follow along with Twitter. Bobby lost his phone.
If Bobby can find his cell phone.
Yeah, if Bobby gets a new cell phone, Bobby and the Sheridan Report will be here at 2 o'clock. If not, it could be a little later. If not, it could be tomorrow. Also, tonight at 9 o'clock, we've got Inside Boxing Daily with myself, Jeremiah Pricer, John Einreinhofer, to review last week's Canelo Alvarez, Danny Jacobs fight, and to look at the fights coming up this weekend. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I want to remind everybody.
Mike.
What?
Tomorrow also, Alex and I will have another edition of the NASCAR show.
Oh, man, that's exciting.
They finished at Dover. They had races rained out on Sunday. They run it on Monday. And Kyle Busch is up in arms again, steaming about the new aero package and wreaking havoc on NASCAR again, saying the package sucks and the racing sucks. And he's being Kyle again. So he's that one badass.
Yeah.
And how do you know? You don't even watch NASCAR.
It's like the Marvel Comics to me. The Marvel Comics and NASCAR, they're the same damn thing. I don't care. I just
I would love to put your ass in a go-kart and have you get in that go-kart on an indoor track and try and run that kart for 20 minutes without stopping. I don't know that you could do it.
You know what I'd like for you? You know what I'd like to do with you sometime?
Kill me.
No. Why would you say that? That's rude. Why would I want to kill you?
You're a gun lover.
I'm a gun lover.
That's what you do with guns. Go ahead. What would you like to do to me?
You defend yourself. You're not a killer. I would just like one time for you to think. All right, guys, you can hear us on iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you hear sports podcasts, you'll find The Grueling Truth. So for Steve Risley, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.